All right, today what I'm going to do is this study of this boat. I've had it taped up in my studio for a long time. So just going to take and study it. Try to see if I can do it in a short amount of time. And, one of the things I really enjoy about just letting go and studying is that it can be in kind of however deeply you want. So I'm going to just do it like today. I just don't have a ton of time. And what I'm going to do is just take and find the drawing and kind of dissect the composition. And really that's what's going to make up the whole thing. So, studying, I think, is just like looking is just as important as it is as doing. And to kind of take and dissect things. The other thing that I have to say about studying and doing, so I'm just gonna work out of there are times in which I was told, you gotta do things a certain way, and go test them out in your studio, see what works for you. Come up with your own conclusions instead of just accepting things. You can draw with charcoal, you can draw with pencil. I used to draw with just about anything that was lying around. Sometimes I'll draw with a marker if that's all I have around. And the point is that, I don't have the luxury always of capturing an idea or being at the museum to study and having the perfect tool. And what does that even mean? Can you work in any material that was given to you? And that's really where I think a balanced artist is, just the ability to kind of sketch freely and let ideas come out without the constraints of having to have north light or something like that. And I think that's freeing, or it should be. Of course, in studio, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do it from photo or whatever. But just the study, I think, is just a wonderful thing just for study's sake, So what would it mean to just kind of take this and think of the picture? But maybe I just want to kind of hatch. One of the questions I always have is when to hatch? And, I think it's things like that you begin to kind of play with, Just drop this down. And when do I want to hatch? Sometimes it's nice to have maybe a bit of rules on your ways to think, but then what does the hand naturally do? You begin this inner dialogue of exploration of kind of, that's how they do it. Maybe that's helpful, maybe it's not. And then this is how my hand naturally goes, and then if you're trying to correct, then you're able to kind of take the two pieces of data, but you'll have a place to kind of begin and a framework to, you don't always want to compare, but sometimes it's not a bad thing. So you just build it up tonally, and then come back in and grab if I want to clean the edge, that's what I'll do. So all right, so the whole thing in this drawing is, it feels kind of gray, and there's specks of a very, very kind of tonalist, beautiful painting of boats. What does it mean to study it, the essence of it? There's just a whisper back here of all this, right? But sometimes you just need all the variables in there before you can begin to kind of pull it. Like one of the things that we did was to create a little poster study, even with a pencil, of just what the big light is on the forms before you're getting in and kind of modeling. And this is the picture. It's kind of this relationship of the everything to each other, rather than kind of getting in and noodling or getting in and putting information before it's too early. So working from the big to the small. So here we go. Let's just get some of this in. That seems to be the contrast of this. Again, I wish I knew who the artist was, but I'll probably find out. Do a Google image reverse search. But that's kind of, the essence of the picture. And you could do these in a very short amount of time. I'm going to use the tone as a way to kind of help. It almost acts as the green, because it is very similarly a green. And just, keep the drawing very, very open as a sketch. And, maybe you want to take the sketch and put it up. Put, of course, the name of the artist that you're studying so you don't think that you did it. But can it influence something? Like, that's the wrong value, but like, where is this? Is there an idea coming from it and the recreation of this? Those are the things I begin to kind of ask. Build it tonally, like maybe there's a beautiful hatch mark that happens in the creation here. And you begin to look at like old masters and see that they had all these pictures, these little sketches that they were kind of working through. The ski. The old French academics were coming up with their idea first and then serving it, but they were always studying the old masters. All right, so let's extend the lead there. I draw with these Papermates all the time just because they're easy and I can take them and go to CVS and buy another one or a pack of them if I need them. Obviously you need some kind of utensil or tool to draw, but you don't want to get in the mode of having to have a specific one. I have my favorites, but what happens when you're given a different tool, or like you just want to try something out? I think that's a wonderful place to kind of explore how can you control it. All right, look at that composition there, just a compositional tool of what he's doing, or she, can't remember the artist. And there's little moments in here where it's just building and kind of breaking it up with texture. Now, up to you if you want to hatch. Again, very, very loosely, you can go in and grain it. You can leave the graining of the paper. You could refine down to a line if you want to. What does it mean? A great place to kind of explore. What does it mean to go too far? What if someone's telling you what it means to go too far, but you don't really know yet, right? There's a quote by Carl Jung, beware of unearned wisdom. I think about all the time. It's like you need to go, like, know what it's like to fall in the hole to avoid it the next time, and not for somebody to just say, don't do these things. Don't do these things are kind of a set of framework that bind thinking rather than allow it to play. And, something like that would be, in a short amount of time, a quick little sketch. Now, do you want to take it further? Up to you, but in a short amount of time, every day, maybe you can do one of these. I think it's just a wonderful way to take it and, if you want to, do it now in watercolor. What does it mean to even be loose here? Like, what if I play with some of these marks? Like, what does it mean to kind of break it up? You see a lot of old master drawings, and you see like heightened chalk. Like, what does it mean if they're kind of touching each other? Like the chalk in the you know, in the graphite. This is graphite, of course. I don't know. You know, I was always told don't let the two touch, but what happens if they touch? I've seen people do good drawings where they do touch. Like, go find out what you think of it, and then look at their drawings, and then look at your drawings, and then say, you know, can I think differently in terms of like what they're doing, what I'm doing? Again, this allows just for play, and it allows you to explore. So there's not always super mechanical what it is that we're doing. And I think it's just a fun place to try things out. There we go. See if just like, and if made a mess, throw it away. Do it again. Bet you the second time through, you'll make a better one. Oftentimes, I find that that's what happens. Like, there's just a speckle of, you know, information in here. Seems intentional that that's what the artist is doing, right? Like, I could see me trying to do this with gouache as well, and then maybe I want to play and cut this back up, where I'm kind of hatching now with this, and then it's, ooh, look at that, serendipitous, because I got graphite all over my hand. Pull it back down. I don't know. You know, begin to experiment and play. I think somewhere in that is where you'll have a lot of fun, and do it in the confines of your studio. You don't have to share if you don't want to, and then let that just be just a place for you to play with ideas and accept or reject them. You know, what happens if you made the sky a bit too dark, right? I don't know. Could be a fun place to play with that idea too. All right, and then maybe just like a whisper of the clouds coming up. And I find that kind of balances even my drawing to kind of play with it a little bit. And maybe looks like there's like a very specular thing on the rock. So now it becomes like, ooh, that's interesting. You know, this rhythm of marks all throughout. All right, then this comes up, maybe a sharp edge in there. And this comes up, maybe a sharp edge in here. Maybe you do the whole thing tonally. Maybe you do the whole thing, I don't know. Maybe you do it another way, where you're drawing it with just lines, hatching the whole thing. When will you figure it out? For me, I was like, now. I got to start. Let's go jump in, and I'll have an idea of kind of what to work on after. There we go. Now there's a kind of a line emerging in the drawing. All right. You know, exploration, I think, is a fun thing. Like, he cuts that line up right there. I think it's with the ore. Let's see. Right up through there. If that's too much, go back and put a tone over it. Could I have done another way? Maybe. But maybe there's something in doing it in that order that really only I could get in that order, like a mark, you know, or a softening of the form. Interesting, right? There we go. Back and forth. All right. Carve it out, a little linear. I don't know. Adds a little bit of interest in here. This comes darker. Interesting, right? So anyway, it could be as simple as that, and it's just a sweet little sketch. And what I would do is put this around the studio, let it speak to you, and put the edge if you want to show that it's a drawing. I have all of their drawings on this piece of paper, so look at that hatchet. hatchet there. Maybe it just ends up being a very, very moody derivative piece from there. So I think that's good enough.